And we move back down to the start now for the start of the Thames Challenge Cup. In the Bark Station on the left-hand side, N.S.R Oslo from Norway. On the right-hand side, in the Buck Station, it's Royal Chester Rowing Club B.
So again, crews going off quickly. The Oslo crew seems to have a bit more pedigree with some members of last year's crew that was beaten in the final, and they seem to be just moving off the start already, moving out to half a length. Quite quick order, but Royal Chester now, let's see if they can hold on to this Oslo crew and not let them get away too quickly.
Yeah, we know that the crew from Norway, from N.S.R Oslo, they have a number of former under-23 and junior internationals in this crew, so a very strong crew into the final last year. They'd be looking no doubt to go one better this year if they can. Royal Chester here closest to us on screen, putting up a fight, but it is a tough ask to come up against this Oslo crew on day one.
Yeah, and again, like you said in the last race, the paper, this is the Royal Chester B crew, so they managed to get 2 crews qualified for this. So you would say Oslo should, with that kind of pedigree, should win the race. And looking at it at the moment, that's the way it's going. The Oslo crew really do look like a strong, powerful unit.
Yeah, this is where you start to feel the pinch in an 8. Everyone's hard and fast out of the start, but it's really in this next minute or so where you really start to feel the pain, and this is where we start to see the crews separate a little, and that's exactly what's happened. N.S.R Oslo from Norway on the right-hand side of the screen, now with a lead of 2 lengths over Royal Chester Rowing Club B on the left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, and I think the pedigree is showing here. The Oslo crew look really quite comfortable, and I can't see the result changing from here. It's always great to see when crews are within themselves a bit. It just looks so much more it looks like an easy sport to do, doesn't it?
Deceptively so. Even rowing like this, though, we know that they're making it look a lot easier than it actually is.
And even there, if you look along the booms, look how much the waves. A second ago, there was some water splashed up in the middle of the boat. It's still really quite bouncy out there.
You really can't afford to take your mind off the job at this point. Although they're looking comfortable, they have a couple of lengths lead, the strike rate is down. They're moving quite nicely together, but one mistake and all of a sudden the result's looking a little different.
And also one of the ironies is that when you are like this, you can't actually bring the stroke rating down too low because it becomes very heavy. So you do have to actually put in quite a lot of work just to make it, in inverted commas, easy. But yeah, looking comfortable there, really nice rhythm. You can see as the crews finish, their bodies sit still for a little bit as their hands move away. That's very efficient.
So the N.S.R Oslo crew down at 32 strokes a minute. The Royal Chester Rowing Club crew still up and racing, trying to keep that gap closed at 35 strokes per minute. In the Oslo crew, we could see a world rowing shirt on one of the rowers there, and it's a reminder of the pedigree of this crew, former internationals in this boat. So after making last year's final, definitely looking to not only be there this year, but hopefully take home the trophy as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Cara de Witt, who's the cox, is a local in the Oslo crew. So I'm sure that helps quite a lot as well in terms of letting the athletes know where they are on the course and how much is left and that kind of thing. Here's the Royal Chester B crew, still putting it all in. They've trained all year for this, and they've done well to qualify. They've just come up against what looks to me like possibly one of the favourite crews, I think.
Absolutely, but as we've said, the standard to qualify for this regatta this year particularly has been so tough, and so for many crews to be here, even on the first day, even if it means going home, it's still a great achievement.
As we saw earlier how much it matters, there was the crew from York City with an average age of 40 who were here racing, and they got through to the next round, and they only did it because they couldn't race at the 8's Head in March because it was cancelled, and it means that much to people to come and race in this regatta.
And the crew from Royal Chester, they're a little bit lighter than this crew from Oslo in Norway, down at about 78 kilos as compared to 81 kilos, so only a few kilos in it, but in the 8's that does make a difference.
Yeah, and again here Oslo really almost winding down now, actually really comfortable. Bit of steering there from the cox. But it's also interesting just to look at the way the water runs through the boat. You don't often get this kind of view this close up. And you can see how lively the hull moves. Really nice rowing there by the crew from Norway.
This crew from Norway, one of 577 crews competing at the regatta this year, 15 different nations.
You can hear the applause from the crowd as the Norway crew just to enjoy the audience as they come past.
And it is one of the really incredible parts about this regatta. I know when I raced here, being that close to the spectators and hearing them clap and cheer.
We don't get that normally as rowers.
It's a really special event. And the crowd showing their appreciation for the fine display here in the Thames Challenge Cup, N.S.R. Oslo, Norway. Looking very comfortable in victory over the Royal Chester Rowing Club B crew.